They still had an hour after finishing breakfast before they had to go to school, so Jean went to Robbie's room to see if he still needed comforting. Although she loved Scott, the bad thoughts and feelings that burned forth from other people occasionally got her down, so she tried to be as nice to people, without being a doormat. She wanted people to have positive emotions, not be able to push her around because she was so nice. Knocking on the door, she began to turn the handle. "Robbie," she said quietly. Now she had started turning the handle, she suddenly tensed up her hand, reluctant to open it any further. "Come in," he replied, his voice having almost returned to normal. "I just came to see if you were all right," Jean said, opening the door fully. Robbie's room was decorated exactly the same as Jean's before she had repainted. The walls were a creamy off-white and there was a single bed in the middle of the room. The windows at the far wall, opposite the door, lead out onto a small balcony, and Jean could see Gabriel sitting along the thick balcony rail with his back against the wall. "You said a very personal thing just now. I was just wondering why." Jean began in the middle of her thought process because Gabriel hadn't moved since she had entered the room. "I don't know. It's because I want to fit in. But I'm afraid, at my last school where I was myself, I was bullied. But here the thing I was bullied for is to my advantage. Perhaps I felt I was coming here too easily." Gabriel said, his words once again more articulate than he had expected. "I'm glad you did. I am also here to tell you a little more about school and our special arrangement with the teachers." Madeline moved into the medical bay slowly. This course had to be perfectly timed so she could get the diapers without getting seen. It was simple, she could just pick up the diapers, put them in her bag and take them to her room. If she was seen on the way, then she would dump her bag, or lean against a wall and let her bag phase through it. The diapers were kept in a small cupboard in the storeroom at the back of the medical equipment. It was an easy place to get to because of the wide open space around the 3 beds, which served as sort of ward for the ex-mice. Madeline moved softly to the cupboard door, did a casual 180, then softly clicked the door open. Softly moving in, Madeline waited until she had shut the door gentle before turning on the light via the cord to her left. The cupboard was a huge junk pile. The shelves were stacked with very neatly labeled medicines, but the floor in the middle was not to be seen. Burned uniforms, old dressing packaging had just been discarded into the pile. And at the very back in the oak cupboard, which came up to Madeline's waist, were the diapers. On each shelf there was 2 neat rows of 10 diapers, with 2 shelves that made 40, and Madeline had been going through them at some rate. Sometimes a half shelf a day, so she prayed that there would still be some left. Checking that the door was still shut behind her, Madeline bent down onto her knees and opened the cabinet. 2 sweet rows of the standard diapers she had been wearing on the bottom shelf, but on the top shelf, Madeline took out one of the thicker diapers. There were only 10 on this shelf because the diapers were so thick. Rather than a pull-up, it had tapes. Yellow tapes. It wasn't a plain white diaper either, it had 2 yellow broken lines starting at the middle of the crotch and extending to the fold just slightly behind the leg holes. Cocking her head slightly, Madeline tried to figure out what this was for but couldn't. "It's a wetness indicator, sugar," Rogue said from behind Madeline. "Good God." Madeline jumped a mile. "I hope you haven't just filled the one you are wearing, Madeline." "I'm not wearing one, but no, I didn't poop my pants," Madeline said defensively. She might not have pooped them, but she had certainly been caught with them down. "Metaphorically speaking." "I didn't suggest that," Rogue said, sniffing the air. "Smells like a guilty conscience to me." "I didn't." "Prove it then, sweetness." "What?" "No way. I could always force you. Then after removing your sweats I could touch you, weaken you so much I could take you onto the school bus, without any trousers and with plenty of diapers sticking out of your bag. You always have a choice, kitten." "Don't call me that. I will show you, but you must promise to tell no one about me and those," Madeline said, thrusting her head towards the stack of incriminating evidence. "You show me cleanliness and I'll show you kindness," Rogue said grandly.